Hey folks, welcome to another edition of the Practical Tactical Podcast. This is the podcast dedicated to the practical application of tactical principles and teachings for the everyday common person. I'm your host, Casey. We've got Justin with us. Justin, how are you, my friend?
I feel like I am a one-armed wallpaper hanger over the last couple weeks, but I'm hanging in there.
Barely, apparently.
Well, I was going to say a one-legged man in it. Well, anyways.
Yeah. It's a family-oriented show, as I keep getting reminded on the reviews and on the feedback emails. I'm sorry I say a lot of words I shouldn't say, but I can't help it. How are you, my friend? How was Christmas for you?
Oh, it was good. I had to actually work on Christmas, but I took some time off before, did the family thing, and then hooked up with some other family right after Christmas. So, I'm a child of a divorce, so, 2 Christmases! But, no, it was good times. Yeah, it really was it was eventful, but uneventful. Just the standard, a little bit of traveling, get with a family, and then go back to work, and work was slow. Really wasn't any issues. Very, very actually slow. I don't want to knock myself going back this week, knock on wood. But I'm going to make up for that. And then afterwards, some more family time on there. So, not a whole lot to show related stuff. Got a new tactical flashlight. I'm in the 630 lumen club now, and I got a chest rig from a D3 chest rig from one of Travis Haley's creations as a gift from a special someone. So might be mess around with that a little bit, but that's really about it. I feel like I've been so busy, but don't have a lot to say. Kind of.
How do you like that D3 chest rig? I've been coveting them for quite a while. I think it would be a nice rig for some low profile stuff. But how do you like it?
Yeah, I think it would work good for that. The one thing I was kind of surprised about, I thought I was getting. Well, I thought I requested the model that had that expanding pouch in the middle, but this one doesn't. It has 2 general purpose pouches on the end, and they're kind of small, really. Of course, this coming from the days when I had a roly-poly pouch that opened up big enough to hold like 600 rounds of saw, or a tactical tailor dump pouch that would hold like an ASIP radio. So it's not a real fair comparison, but as far as low profile, behind the seat with your truck gun or trunk gun, first responding officers, if we're honest, it's probably got everything you need on it, as long as you can. I'd like a little bit larger medical pouch. The GP pouches are kind of small for medical, most of the stuff I set up, but let's be honest, we could all probably carry a little bit leaner and meaner kits than we sometimes tend to do. So I think this lends itself well to. It's kind of like you buy the smaller bag, because if you get the bigger one, you're just going to fill it up and have to carry it. So I think it will serve that role really well, and with the detachable clips, be able to attach to, like you're saying, low profile kind of things. I think it could scale up and down and be a nice little. I don't want to say a niche kit, but I think it's got more going for it than most people would give it credit for, because we really don't need to be running around with 20 magazines, most of us, attached to our body at one given time. I don't think so. I think it's going to turn out pretty good.
Well, we are definitely awaiting your review with bated breath, my friend.
Yeah, maybe sometime next year.
Lucky for you, that's like 3 days away, so I'll expect it at the end of next week then, eh?
Okie dokie.
No, my Christmas was good too, man. The wife works retail, so she worked Christmas Eve. I did not, because, being in the detectives now, you're pretty much off all the holidays, which is awesome. And then Christmas Day, we hung out, did the present thing, and I got some cologne and socks and underwear and stuff like that. But I, out of the goodness of my heart, took the on-call detective's spot that day and said, okay, I'll be on call for you. How bad can it be? It's Christmas, right? Much like I did when I was on the road. I don't have young kids, so it doesn't bother me. It's more than just another day, but at the end of the day, it's just another day, and I like the overtime money. Well, no good deed going unpunished. I ended up working like 9 hours that day on a couple of different calls. So I guess I've learned my lesson. But he informed me that he had a very nice Christmas with his kids, so I guess it kind of makes it all worthwhile.
Right on.
But yeah, I too have been very busy. One-armed wall hanger thing. My wife has a couple sons. I have two stepsons, 21 and 20. And the 20-year-old rather, moved in with us beginning of the year. He came from his home state to where we are, and wanted to start new and change and whatever. Well, Daddy Casey has graciously been allowing him to drive his truck because I have a truck. It sits there, and I don't ever drive it. I have one for work, and I take the trash off in it or whatever. I usually ride the motorcycle. And a couple weeks ago, I get a call, 1:30 in the morning, from our patrol supervisor. I happened to be on call that week. He's like, hey, man, where are you at? I'm home in bed, dude. What do you got? He's like, where are your cars? I'm like, probably out front of my house, where they ought to be. I said, I think the boys got my truck. He was going to spend the night at a friend's house or whatever. He says, well, yeah, we're out here with him. It's wrapped around a tree.
Oh.
And of course, I'm like, I am on the way. So I get out there. He's fine. He, no injuries or anything like that, thank God. The truck, total loss.
Mm.
So here I am, frantically. Now I'm 30, upper mid 30s, and I've never wrecked a car. I've never had. I don't know how you make an insurance claim. I just know you pay the shit. You know what I mean?
Get out of here! Never, not even a small one.
No, I've never. I've wrecked some patrol cars and stuff, but that doesn't go to my insurance. I don't have to call anybody for that. So here I am, like 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. This is a Saturday, and I call USAA. That's my insurance, USAA. I call. They're very reasonably rated, reasonably priced for two cars, whatever. I think I pay like, I don't know, $70 a month or something. So call them up. Hey, this is what I got. They were awesome. That night they had the claim done, taken care of. Within 48 hours, I was talking to the claim adjuster guy, and in fact, just today, like 12 days later, got the check for the truck. So, all in all, it was a pretty good experience. I don't know if our listeners out there have ever had to deal with that. I hope you don't, particularly the way I did. But USAA, man, they took real good care of me. I was pretty impressed. I've never heard anything but good things about them. Every now and again, you get people who are a little irate and upset about them for whatever reason. But man, they took care of me. Didn't even raise my rates. They're like, oh yeah, you've got accident forgiveness. So as long as you don't wreck anything for the next 5 years, you'll be fine. And I was like, dude, this is pretty awesome. And they gave me full bull retail for what it would cost me to get a new truck, and I was pretty impressed. So the hunt is on. The hunt is on for a new vehicle. I think I'm going to go back to a Jeep, which he will never, ever touch or look at, let alone drive. So I had it got a little sporty there for a little while. He did, like I said, had no issues from the crash. Yet it remains to be seen if he will survive the beating. But so had a little adventure there, and then I've been, I do the web stuff a little bit, and you remember Henry? We used to work with Henry in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
before you get to that though, I mean, not to add to it, but as far as USAA, I'm also been a member ever since I was in the military. Once again, started with car insurance, and then I transitioned to everything. The only thing that's not in them is I have one mortgage that was done here locally, and everything else, everything is with USAA, and same thing. Nothing but positive things. Great service. I've done some weird stuff too. Once I drove all the way to Nashville, and the bank was closed, and bought 8 money orders with my debit card to buy a car, which was really stupid and a mistake, but by the way. But I was able to get on the phone in like 15, 20 minutes of actually, most of the time was there at Walmart because they were freaking out about it. Thought I was embezzling money. But literally, I don't know, it was a few minutes on the phone. They said, well, okay, well, we'll up your limit to this, and you should be able to do it. Bam. I mean, it was just weird, but ain't no issues. Once they confirm my identification, bam. So just to give another plug there, another satisfied customer. And I felt I should add that to it because they do deserve it. They've been good to me as well.
Yeah, I've got a bank account through them, homeowners insurance, vehicle insurance. The only thing I don't have with them is my motorcycle. My motorcycle is through Progressive because I guess USA doesn't do motorcycles or doesn't do motorcycles here.
What was said to me is that's the one thing they don't really like. I guess it's the liability of it, or maybe some bad experiences.
Well, listen, Joe's gonna come back from deployment. He's gonna get a 1,000cc Busa or something, and he's gonna get tanked up down on the strip, and he's gonna wreck it. So I guess it's just trying to keep their rates low. But no, so I very happy with USA. Anyway, moving on. You remember Henry? We worked with Henry in Iraq.
Yep.
Henry, Henry lives in Tennessee, and I see Henry from time to time. We're about 4 hours away from each other, but we talk pretty regular. So a few months ago, Henry says to me, he's like, hey, man, I want to get into he went to some freaking 45-day survival school in Arkansas or something. He was there for 45 days, living in the woods and shit. It was crazy. So he comes back from that. He calls me. He's like, "Hey, I want to open a little survival shop thing." And I'm like, "Hey, man, more power to you." So I kind of lined him up with a couple contacts and gave him some ideas. And okay. So fast forward to just about a month ago. And he's like, hey, man, he sends me a link. He's like, hey, man, check it out. Got this going on. And I had to be like, dude, it's pretty terrible. Your website's not awesome. It's not only not awesome. It's kind of, I get it, but it's pretty terrible. And he's like, I know, but I don't want to spend a bunch of money, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, long story short, I ended up building this guy a website to help him out with his new business. New business called nomadsurvivalsolutions.com. nomadsurvivalsolutions.com, and he's got some pretty neat stuff there. I built the website for him, helped him out, because that's what friends do. And I just kind of wanted to plug that real quick because that was one of the things that I was working on for the last several weeks that it kind of precluded me from doing a whole lot of this. I was messing with that, so check it out. Give him a like on the Facebooks.
So what do they specialize in? I guess outdoor survival kind of stuff.
Yeah, outdoor survival type stuff. They've got some mid-grade optics, Adiball. They've got... Which
is a laser...
Well, Adiball is the company, ATIBAL. I think it's a little optics company. It's kind of like Vortex.
Okay. I was thinking... Yeah, I was thinking aiming lasers.
No. Reasonable price stuff. I haven't fooled with any of it yet, but, lifetime warranty or whatever, so he seems to like it. I haven't fooled with it, like I said. They've got some Maxpedition stuff. Got some...
well, here's that power pod. I've seen some other people...
Yeah, this is kind of, little unique niche stuff that might be good for a bug-out bag or whatever, but anyway, I thought the listeners would appreciate it because it's a veteran-owned company. Henry's a former Marine. I believe his partner is also a former Marine. And they met working at a nuclear security site, I think in Oak Ridge. And so they're doing their thing together. And, Henry's a fireman now. And I don't know what the other guy's doing, but check them out. Have a look. See what you think. If you can help them out, great. If you can't, let us know too. Let them know. I mean, don't let you can feel free to send us some feedback on it. I'm good with that. But
don't chew them out.
Yeah, chew them out if you think their products suck. I think they got a nice little selection just starting out. So, I guess he started it with his employee stock option plan is finally starting to come around and pay.
What?
So yeah, so he
I
cashed
thought
it out.
I thought we
for
got
quite
bought
a,
out. I thought
for quite a bit of money. No, it did. So guys like you and me who didn't work there for 5 years, yeah, we get nothing. But he's sitting on a pretty little penny there. So I think that's the seed money he used to start it. So good for him. Good American. Good American. Definitely. He likes the show. He listens to the show. In fact, he was like, "Man, you need to put a link to your podcast on the website," and I just haven't got around to doing it. But anyway, check them out. See what you think. Let them know. Let me know.
Here they are.
Tell Justin to FO. Whatever.
I thought it was just a family show.
I didn't say anything.
Well, I'm going to like them right now. I'm liking them on Facebook as we speak.
Like them on the Facebook. Is that going to be on the video?
Yes.
See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Consumerism in action, folks. Live-ish.
Well, 2015. Been quite the year for, well, a lot of stuff, unfortunately. Where do we want to go first? We kind of want to talk about some California stuff. We want to talk about some Obama stuff. Where do you want to start?
You're driving the train right now.
Okay, well, let's get the views up. Let's get the eyeballs going. Obama is coming to take away our guns. We knew it was coming. We were just waiting. He was, from all along, he was going to take them. And now, in his 11th hour of his presidency, he's going to sweep down and take your guns.
Listen, real quick. Folks, this is how we come up with titles on our show. Justin, throw some clickbait out there for us, huh?
It's kind of like when I put in my Ruger LCP fails. Everybody will be like, it didn't fail. You threw it in the mud. No, it's like it was supposed to fail. I don't care.
You know, I'll tell you, if you somehow we managed to get like the number 1 or number 2 spot on Google for the M&P review. I have no idea how that happened.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The LCP one, too, it trended really high for a while there because people were just, LCP, total failure. Like, what? Click the button.
We didn't do any keyword buys on that, did we?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think it just, people love their LCPs. It was...
Because we have the best audience ever. Our stuff is like high on Google organically.
Or insult people's coffee. Starbucks. That's another way to get to go big.
Dude, that was a good one too. That was 2014 though.
Still, I'm just saying as examples. Okay, so seriously, there has been a lot of buzz, and it seems to be cyclical. And I'm almost to the point that I don't even listen because it's like the boy who cried wolf. Supposedly, and this is on the Hill, it says administration preps new gun regulations. And once again, gun regulations, who knows what they're really wanting to do. I also know there was a bill put into Congress that was basically an assault weapons ban. The same nonsense of this gun has a pistol grip, so it's bad kind of crap that just creates these weird, like, California compliant mutant ARs, but doesn't actually do anything. But anyways, I do think there is some scuttlebutt, but I don't think at this point it's as... I think it may be a little more legitimate than a lot of the other clickbait Facebooking stuff is. But they're really banging for it pretty hard. I just don't know if... I don't think an executive order is gonna do it. I really don't think it will. But
yeah, you know, they've been talking about the executive order thing for pretty much as long as Mr. Obama's been the president. And while he has had a significant number of executive orders issued under his administration, he's not much higher than Bush, George W. But he's certainly like a tenth of Franklin D. Roosevelt.
Yeah.
And I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but it here's the thing. Executive orders are directives to primarily in administrative or enforcement agencies of the executive branch that give them guidance on how things are supposed to be done. So we look at I think the big one is immigration. He don't do this, don't do that, blah 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 blah. That is a directive to DHS, CBP, whomever. And again, I'm not reading it, so I don't know exactly what it says, but that's a directive to them on how they're to enforce the law that Congress has passed. Executive orders, while they can be used to do some pretty nefarious things, they certainly do not carry the weight of law. They are not law. Law is created by the House of Representatives and the Congress. So we have to kind of recognize the legislative branch of government versus the executive branch of government, which really all the president is in charge of is the executive branch of government. It blows my mind that we spend billions upon billions of dollars to have presidential elections, and ultimately the guy he's got some power, but he doesn't have that much power.
It's kind of a cheerleader.
It really is. It's a figure. It's more than figurehead, but he doesn't have that much power. The power lies with the legislative branch, and we can argue till the cows come home about this or that or the judicial legislation or whatever, but ultimately the power lies with the legislative branch. They're the ones who make law and things like this. So I get a little concerned about executive orders. I'm not going to say that they don't bother me at all, but I also think that we may get a little – the sky is falling, Chicken Little, whatever you want to call it, about the potential of an executive order and things like this. And my understanding of an executive order is it can be changed the stroke of a pen when the next guy comes in. And at this point, I mean, we're already – what do we had, like 4 or 5 presidential debates for the 2016 election cycle? So we're looking – what are we looking at, 11 months?
Yeah.
11 months and change at this point. So I just don't see him being able to do anything of real note. It's possible, and God knows they've wanted to for their entire presidency, but I just don't know that it's as big an issue as maybe it's made out to be. Now, we do have to take into consideration that things like this executive order stuff and even the UN treaty that everybody was all aghast about earlier this year and late last year, it's a great moneymaker for the NRA. You know, they send out these emails and things like this. I mean, I get them all the time. Donate so we can fight this and blah, blah, blah. And again, I think sometimes that the people, they see that, they freak out, and not, I'm going to say it's maybe a bit of an overreaction that they freak out, but I am glad that they are involved enough to recognize that it is a potential slippery slope, that it is a possible major issue in the future. And again, I can't speak to implementation and things like that, but so it's, on the one hand, I don't want to be like, oh, don't freak out. And on the other hand, I want to be like, hey, good job for paying attention to what's going on, because it does matter when we apply pressure. The issue comes where you cannot be a single issue voter, for lack of a better term. So we have things that are going on with the Second Amendment that are insanity. It's been going on for 50, 60 years. But we recognize that. So a lot of things, we've made a lot of really good changes nationally in the last several years at the Supreme Court level and things like that. But we're forgetting things like the First Amendment and what is the press? Who truly has the quote-unquote right to free speech? Justin and I, or Brit Hume on MSNBC or wherever he works? So there's a host of things that we really, as a people, and I'm preaching to the choir. If you're listening to the show, I'm preaching to the choir. I get it. But we have to be paying attention on all fronts, not just the Second Amendment. You know, there's First Amendment encroachment and things like that, and Fourth Amendment issues. And I think that's, like I said, on the one hand, I want people to freak out a little bit, maybe too much, but I think it's good. It's good that they're involved. It's good they're engaged, and it's good that they can see the potential bad and keep the government in check, because ultimately that's the most important part, is keeping the government in check. I want less government involvement in my life. I know Justin does. I know you do. We want less government involvement, less infringement, and all of this stuff. So I guess I would say, don't get too freaked out because they don't have that much power, one. But two, stay engaged, stay after them. And here's the thing, folks. Don't elect morons. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, if you've got a local people that are stupid, fire them. If you got a state senator or something that's a moron, fire his ass. You cannot be a single issue voter. And here's the thing. Nobody is going to agree with one particular politician one way or the other. And if we get right down to it, politics, Democrat or Republican, they're different sides of the same damn coin. So I guess it's kind of pick the poison that's least poisonous to you. So that's kind of unfortunate. There's a host of reform that needs to be made. But anyway, I'm going off on a political rant. I apologize. But yeah, I get a little passionate about that stuff. We start talking about taxes and shit. I want to start losing it.
Well, let me jump in a little bit.
Justin. Bring it back for us, buddy.
The thing that I guess I want, and we're probably going to come back to this before, and a lot of it's too has to do with we've kind of been spitballing doing an episode on where we go back to basics and explain to the listener and viewer, why we do this show, what our motivation. The same way as when we say we're going to pick this gun, this gear, this vehicle, because the mission dictates this. What is the mission? What is the goal of this podcast? What is our goal? Because that should dictate what we're telling you. So I said all that to say this. I believe it was Confucius said, the beginning of wisdom is to call things by their proper name. As much as I support these people that get all drummed up about the UN going to march across the oceans and take our guns, that is not calling things by their proper name. And unfortunately, I hate to admit it, it's almost a necessary evil. Because like you said, Casey, it gets eyeballs, it gets hits, it generates revenue. I don't blame those organizations for using that to drive their agenda and raise funds. I don't blame them. I really don't. And if we can't have the number one thing, which is the true wisdom and facts and the honest conversation and really speaking truth to power with what's going on, then I guess the next best second is firing up people with headlines that, once you drill down to them, are not totally accurate, but still are trying to accomplish the same goal. So is it a necessary evil? I wished it wasn't. But I also don't want to sit around here and say, you're all wrong, stop doing that, because I don't want those people, those like-minded individuals, to go away either. I don't want to lose their support. I don't want them to think that the fight is not there or that the fight is over and for that to wane. So I just wished we could have that and that emotional response, that fire, that passion backed more, or in a perfect world, solely by facts and not social media spin cycle, if it bleeds, it leads kind of stuff. And I don't know if we'll ever get there, but that's my problem with it. So I want to mention it. Does that make sense? Kind of it's not black and white. Is that?
Exactly. I was talking with my mom the other day, and my mom, I love you, Mom. If you're listening, probably not, but if you are, here you go. You made the big time, Ma. You're on the show.
My mom's not listening, I can tell you that for sure.
So we were talking about, and I don't remember how it came up, but we were talking about, and now clearly you all have heard me for however long we've been doing this thing. I'm a pretty conservative fellow, but I'm pretty liberal when it comes to how you should be able to live your life, because I believe in freedom. I'm a firm believer in freedom, right up to the part where your freedom starts screwing up mine, or it starts affecting me directly. So we're talking the other week, and she said we got to talking about the thing in Colorado a while back, the shooting at the Planned Parenthood there,
Mm-hmm.
and we were talking about how that's it's totally inappropriate, it's bad, it's whatever, and she said something to me that said, hey, uh, well, I don't think any man should even be able to vote about women's reproductive stuff. And I said, okay, I'm on board with that. I said, I'm good with that. I will give you that. However, what about when not you and me, Justin, because it just certainly wouldn't be possible, but me and a lady are in a relationship. We do the dirty deed that we all love so much, and we get pregnant. And you don't want I don't want the child, but you want the child. So you have the child. Great. Who's on the hook now to pay? Well, I am. And I don't think that's wrong. I think that's people should support their offspring, their progeny. Not progeny. Progeny. Jesus. Anyway, so they should support that. However, if the mom doesn't want it, and I do, I have no say. That's insane. You can't have it both ways. It's all a very complex issue. Wherever you stand on the abortion thing, pro-life or pro-choice, that's fine. I'm not really getting into that. I'm just saying, overall, it's all a very complex situation. Nothing is black and white, and you're 100% right, Justin. Nothing is black and white. It all matters. It's all freaking gray. And you have to be educated on all sides of everything to be an informed voter or an informed citizen. It's going to come a time, God, I hope it does not happen in my lifetime, because I could just see things, I'll be going high order into orbit. But there's going to come a time where things are voted on by your smartphone. And it's scary that people could potentially, hell, they do it now, have no knowledge of the issue and can vote one way or the other.
Kind of like those things where they go out in the street and ask people how they like something
Sharia
that's
law.
completely ridiculous.
Yeah. Did you see the one from a couple weeks ago? I think I shared it on the page. Some guy goes out. He's doing the man on the street question. Hey, what do you think about Hillary's policy on Sharia law, that we should all support it and blah, blah, blah. And people are like, yeah, hell yeah, man. If she thinks it's good, I think it's good. And they have no idea what they're talking about. But if you went to those same people and said, hey, what do you think about Trump's idea that we should support the 10 Commandments? That's bullshit. You know what I mean? And really, I think the 10 Commandments should be law. Maybe a couple of them are a little but overall, it's a good way to live your life. I don't know enough about Sharia law, but I know that there's some things in there that make me go, But people, they're voting, in essence, voting and saying things on these topics that they have no clue about.
Yeah, and that's the true problem.
Yes,
that's the true problem. But
and
unfortunately,
their vote counts as much as yours and mine.
Unfortunately, and this moves on to say the San Bernardino stuff. Unfortunately, we don't have honest discussions about it because we don't get beyond the rhetoric. We don't get beyond the titles. We don't get beyond the special interests. When I tell you that I'm overloaded with statistics. I've been crunching these for the last hour before the show, trying to figure them out. When I say 20% of American Muslims support Sharia law, I'm now anti-Muslim. When Trump said, hey, maybe we should stop letting new Muslims come into the country, kind of like we put them in camps, the Japanese during World War II, or when we were at war with Germany. There's been reactions to not let people that we're at war with coming to the country, we don't have an honest discussion like I just mentioned. Hey, we've done something like this before. It's he's against Muslims. He hates all Muslims. What about a Muslim soldier that's fighting for our freedom and he comes back? He won't be able to come back. What about a Muslim family going to Disneyland in Europe? They won't be able to come back. What? And after all that, ad nauseum for hours, exponentially magnified by social media and the internet, we never actually have a conversation saying, well, wait a second, what effect does immigration of Muslims have on our country? What's going on? We never have that discussion. We never get beyond that nonsense of those
You're
examples.
a racist.
Exactly. We can't get beyond it.
Well, and I'll tell you, Justin, like we discussed before the show, I don't know the answer. God, if I knew the answer, I'd be running for president or something, right?
Well, I know what can't hurt. Facts.
Facts never hurt anybody.
Speaking the truth cannot hurt. If that's all you do, and if that's what you get from this show, and the one thing we can help you out to say, hey, look at this from this angle. When people call you a racist, reverse it. If it's not true, then it is racism or isn't. If we can give you the tools and the knowledge to see what's really going on, maybe you can sit down at, maybe recently it's Thanksgiving or kitchen tables or dinner tables and say, well, blah, 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 blah. Or they say, hey, that's racist. And I was like, well, why is that racist? Well, I don't know. Well, how do we test that? Well, I'll give you an example. Black entertainment television, is it racist? Well, no. Okay, so I can have white entertainment television. No, that'd be racist. No, you're wrong. They're both racist. They're both wrong. Next topic. How to use logical, philosophical, if you want to. People always get weird about the philosophy. It's really not weird. It's kind of like the scientific method for facts and theories and thoughts. Just like that racism test. If you reverse it, if a white person can't do it, it's racist. That's just the way it is. BET is racist. Bottom line. I mean, that's the facts. It's nothing against blacks or against that agency or that organization. I'm sorry, that channel. But if you reverse it and it doesn't, it's not good. Racism is universal. So, just using those simple tests, that's how we can try to move the ball down the field towards true knowledge instead of being batted back and forth between pundits and special interest groups fighting over stuff while we don't never actually drill down to the facts.
Here we go, folks. You're going to hear it first right now, just before the first of the year. I am now officially announcing our candidacy for president. Casey and Justin, 2016. The tagline is facts, not feels, folks. Facts, not feels.
It's going to be a write-in campaign, I'm afraid.
Hey, if you want to donate, hit us up at feedback@practicaltacticalpodcast.com. I'll be more than happy to give you the PayPal address. Casey and Justin, 2016, facts, not feels.
We might have maybe create that account before we give it out.
I got a PayPal account. We'll be fine.
Oh boy,
it's so complex and nothing is nearly. Everybody wants it to be 2 lines, maybe 3 of a headline on the internet or in a newspaper, and distill everything right there. People see a headline and they run with it and they don't read the story, and then they don't even get far enough into the conversation or the research to really see what is going on. It's always very, and I'm not guilty of it often because I'm cognizant, but sometimes I get wrapped around the axle and start saying some crazy stuff. Justin and I go round and round, folks. We go round and round at times prior to the show about things, this, that, or the other. Today was no exception. We spent, I think, an hour before we got going. Do your research, folks. Facts, not feels. That is definitely the message of the Practical Tactical podcast. And I don't know. We got real political there for a minute, Justin. I apologize, folks. It's certainly not our intent. But I think it's a discussion that needs to be had.
Yeah, because, for instance, right here, Samuel L. Jackson, he said, I can't even tell you how much I really wanted it just to be, another crazy white dude and not Muslims. Because now it's like, oh, blank, it's here.
Yeah. But what does the headline say?
The headline says, Samuel L. Jackson says he really wanted it to be a white person.
Yeah,
so,
whereas if you read the first paragraph, what he's saying is, okay, this isn't some crazy homegrown jackass. This is true terrorism is here.
On our shores, yeah.
And again, I'm not taking up for Samuel L. He certainly doesn't need the likes of me to take up for him. But, I don't know. It's like Tarantino. Screw that guy. He hates the Pope.
It's kind of a perfect example of what we're talking about. The headline makes it racist.
Mm-hmm.
It's trying to bait you in. What he said, when you really got to it, really wasn't all that racist. It's more of I had my head in the sand, I'm in denial, and now it's right in my face. They're actually here on the homeland. I mean,
Shocker.
Which is not really, it also speaks to, the denial of, what's really going on. So there's a lot of subtleties in this article that speak to many other problems with society and social media and social constructs that we all prioritize in our life above the facts. A lot of feeling stuff. But let's speak about San Bernardino.
Since we're there, let's talk about San Bernardino. So what we had, a Muslim couple, man and wife, went to I think it was like some sort of a home for the handicapped or something like that.
They were attending a holiday party at the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino on the 2nd.
Right. Ended up killing 14 people, 22 of them injured. Most of these, which are county employees, they were killed in gun battle with the police, which, oh, by the way, let me back up real quick. If we look at the pictures of the gunfight that ensued on the interstate between mom and dad jihadi and the police in America, what was there? What was there? It was a Lenco Bearcat. That whole militarization of the police thing. Oh, my God. We can't have this stuff. Take it away. And now, all of a sudden, it's needed. They're burning these jihadis down in the frickin' streets of America. Thank God they had them.
Their response was amazing.
Absolutely. They did a wonderful job. So, long and short of it is, they'd been planning this. They were rather radical. I don't think they even bought the guns. I believe the guns were purchased by a neighbor or something like that.
Yeah,
who's like now in custody for it or something.
Yeah, that was another example.
That was a thing.
Yeah, I don't know if I know enough in that I want to talk about that, but it seems like a lot of the other things, they find some dude low on his luck that can't get a girl and capitalize on it.
Right. And so these people were master manipulators. They were radicalized heavily, and they chose to go out in a blaze of glory as martyrs. Is it ISIS related? I don't know. I don't know that there's been any real concrete facts with regards to the relation to ISIS, but certainly it is what it is. Wonderful response by the police. Horrible, horrible situation. They were loaded for bear, plenty of ammo, plenty of guns, and there we have a picture of 3 Bearcats that had to go in and do the deed.
Wait a second. They had assault weapons in California.
Oh, my God. How did that happen? I thought they were illegal there.
I don't know.
No. Let's make them all more illegal. Morons. And it's unbelievable to me. We started off, I kind of peaked on a rant. And so every time now I'm going to be going back to the rant, but what alternate freaking universe are we living in that people think it's a good idea to, take everybody's shit away, and then everything will be okay. Except for, look at here. Look at this. I don't understand. It's a terrible, terrible situation. I personally was not shocked to find out that there were Muslim extremist jihadis or even ISIS members in America. I was not in the least bit shocked. Didn't surprise me in even a skosh. Yet people are like, "Oh my God, how could this happen here?" Maybe there are 100 different ways. Now, to be fair, I don't know, and I don't know enough if these people were immigrants or if they were, naturally born and or first generation types. I don't know. So it's crazy. And I think that we're just going to see more of these things. I mean, we saw all kinds of stuff in 2015 about this. We saw this. We saw the guy who lost his shit and was whacking on people in the chicken place with a knife, beheaded some gal. That was some off-duty the plant manager there was a reserve deputy somewhere in Oklahoma, and ended up capping the guy and stopping the act of killing. And that was with a knife, as I recall. So these things, they happen. They're terrible. The only thing you can do is be prepared, and be as prepared as you possibly can. And Justin, let me say this real quick. So the federal government, I guess, has basically said they have given you a plan, like run, hide, fight is their little mantra for active killings.
Yeah.
Run away. If you can't run away, hide somewhere. If you have to, fight. And they take a lot of crap over it, but I don't know that it's so bad for the majority of the people. I think that people should fight back. I'm going to fight back. Justin's going to fight back. You're probably going to fight back. But is your grandma going to fight back? Is your old lady going to fight back? Is your kid going to fight back? I'm not against the fight back, but I'm also for living as few loss of innocent lives as possible. So I understand how they came up with that. And I think, I don't know. Again, some things are so polarizing that the people get so upset and pissed off that they're really mad at the run, hide, fight. And for the majority of people, it's probably not a bad idea, because at the end of the day, the people who have the ability, the fortitude, and the skill to step in and get it on with one of these people is probably smaller than we would care for it to be.
And they're also not getting their guidance from a mass publication from DHS.
Right.
Or the news media or anybody else for that matter. They've already made up their own minds.
Yeah. I mean, again, I've decided long ago, before anything bad has happened, the way I carry myself, what I carry with me when I'm out, the way my wife walks with me, she knows what's going to happen if we're at the mall, as with the Christmas Eve shooter at North Lake in North Carolina. If some stuff like that goes down, she knows, get the F away from me, call 911, tell them what I'm wearing, and I'm moving to the sound of the guns. That's not because I'm a badass or because I'm awesome. I've just made that decision a long time ago. I've made the decision that if I'm working and an active shooter comes out and I happen to be the first one on the scene, I'm entering the target structure regardless. I'm going in. There's going to be a red chem light that marks the breach point, and I'm moving out. That may not be for you. That may not be for everybody. But my point is, the preparedness kind of thing is, you got to think about these things before they happen. Have a plan. And whatever that plan may be. Maybe your plan differentiates. I'm alone. I'm running into Dick's Sporting Good to get my Yeti cooler, and some shit pops off. All right, I'm moving in. I'm moving to the sound of the guns. I've got the old lady and the kids with me. Maybe I'm withdrawing and being a good witness. I'm not, but maybe you are, and that's okay. So I think it's a very individualized choice, and you have to go into those things with the mindset of, I will survive no matter what. And if you get me the better you get the better of me today, well, I didn't go out like a bitch.
Well, aside from what you and I may or may
Anyway,
not do. What do you recommend for the average John Q guy? Because I have to admit, I'm kind of torn. If I had my entire family with me, a lot of my associates carry, so hey, you got my 6, or you can get yourself out if you're not, want to go to war type. Put your hand on your gun in your purse and head out. Don't pull it out unless you need it. But if I'm with my extended family, now it starts to become situational, because as much as I want to close with and destroy the enemy, if they're on the other side of the mall, I don't know. That's a tough one, and as much as I want to say make the decision now, I don't know that I can. If I know my family's going to be safe, then I don't have a problem leaving them. But if there's a doubt in my mind of what's going on, or their ability to Diddy Mau Mau out of there safely, I'm more inclined to take care of me and mine. And I know there's a lot of people that'll badmouth me for that. There's people that have got on the YouTubes and went bananas about it on both ends of that argument. But at the end of the day, I don't think I would be real happy with myself if I closed with and shot up some guy, or kind of like in the North Carolina mall shooting, intervened on a altercation, and then at the end of it, one of my family members ended up getting hurt because I wasn't there to protect them. That's very difficult for me to put together.
Well, here's how I kind of see it. So if, again, we're using a mall as kind of the base here. I mean, it could happen anywhere, but if in a mall, because that's where you're probably going to be with those type of people. You're going to be a big public place. If it's far enough away that I have to actively move to it, there's probably an exit really close behind me that I can shove the people out of. You go out there, do your thing, call 911, let them know what I'm wearing, and I'm moving towards the target. If it's closer than that, it's pretty much you don't have a lot of choice anyway. You stand there and get shot, or you fight back. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there's kind of a, you see what I mean? It's so, and again, it's listen, it's easy to talk some crazy stuff behind a microphone, but I really believe that the thought and the decision and the mindset comes long before the event ever occurs. And that's why, we harp on carry your gun. We harp on be prepared. We harp on know how to use your belt as a tourniquet. We harp on that stuff, not because, I don't particularly want to get into a gunfight, but if the opportunity presents itself, I should probably be prepared and get it on. And like I said, it's the wife and I, she knows the deal. I don't have young kids, so it's not like I have to worry about getting a little baby and stuff out. I don't have any older, like grandma and stuff's not here. So if I'm out and about bebopping, most of the time, 99.9% of the time, it's going to be me and the old lady. And so I can, with pretty good certainty, justify in my mind, okay, I'm moving to it. I have a responsibility. I have a duty. And, that's just kind of how I see it. If you make a different choice, I'm not going to sit here and tell you were wrong for that, because maybe you did what you said you were going to do. You're going to keep your family safe. You're going to get them out, and you're going to move out and be a good witness. And if something happens between now and then, you're going to intervene to keep your family safe. And I think that's the most important reason to carry anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
It's not necessarily for the other people. It's for you and yours. And I'm okay with that. I'm a cop. I have, it's not different, but it's a little different. I don't think I have any, I don't know that I have a legal obligation in this state to do anything. And I'm certainly not getting involved unless it's a pretty major incident. You and your brother want to duke it out in the mall, right? More power to you. I'm going the other way. But in a highly unlikely scenario like we're talking about, I think it's best to have a semblance of an idea so that you're not overcome by events when in the moment. Have a bit of a plan. Be prepared. Carry your gun, even if it's just a shield. And now that may very well dictate how you respond based on what gun you've got. If I've got one of the big guns with me, I'm definitely moving out. If I've got a little shield or a little 38, a little get off me gun, maybe I reconsider that. Everything is situational dependent, but it's best at this point to have a semblance of an idea beforehand. And it just goes to show, like we were talking about with the North Lake shooting, Christmas Eve, packed mall, two gangbangers getting into it. The shots start ringing out, and an off-duty cop stepped up and ended it. Is he right? Is he wrong? I can't fault him for doing that. His old lady might, if he's got, twin kids and stuff. I don't know. But I think that he probably made his mind up long before that event ever occurred that if this happens, this is what I'm going to do. And you can't plan for everything. It's not possible. But that's always why we're what if and what if this, what if that. What if somebody comes in right now while I'm doing this podcast and starts taking pot shots at me? Well, I guess I'm going to pick up this Glock 19 or Glock 17 that's sitting right next to me, and I'm going to go to work, and you're going to get to hear about it. Maybe it'll be all caught on tape. I don't know. We can't plan for everything. But certainly you want to have good solid principles by which you make decisions. We call it the military decision-making process in the Army. But just use sound principles and tactics and to guide your decision-making process. That's kind of the whole tagline of the show.
Well, along those lines of that line of thought, one issue I see here, and this really blows my mind because recently there was some discussion on Facebook, on our channel, and a lot on some other ones, of what people are doing in response to San Bernardino. And I know a lot of people are like, hey, nothing changes for me, and blah, 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 blah. Let's not forget that people conceal carrying, people taking an interest in firearms and stepping up to where we're at, this might be their moment. Don't take that away from them. For me, it was an Amish school. A guy came in with a bag full of nastiness and took over a school with a bunch of little girls and kids. I can't remember if it was just girls. It was youngins, real young, and brutally killed and maimed and had planned on raping them. It was just absolutely the thing of horrors.
That's the one in Pennsylvania, wasn't it? Several years ago?
Yes, several. It was when I was still in the military, and I thought, wow, what if I was there and I didn't have a gun on me and I couldn't stop that guy? How bad would I feel? Because there is actually some evil out there. And here I am. This is when I started competing, shooting over on range. Which was the one over behind the compound off post?
37, wasn't it?
I think so. 36. Anyways, it was cool because they gave you free ammo if you show them a military ID. I started competing. I was like, man, you're dumb. You bought this big, long slide competition gun, but you don't carry off duty or off when you're not playing. Maybe you should focus on it. And that's actually when I got, I think initially it was a Glock 26. Or no, it was some other stuff. And I went through a bunch of other revolutions. But that was the event that's cemented in my mind. You're a gun guy, you're trained, you're in the military. Why don't you have the tools, at least some kind of tool on your person to stop people like this? So this might be your event that drives you to that. And it's awful, but it could be a motivator for change. So moving along that lines, what do you think? First I'm going to talk about myself, the changes I've made, because I've actually made some changes. Let's talk about a little bit of the minutia, a little bit of the gear aspects of it, because there's some people out there, like our article or our episode 30 something where we talked about gun experts recommending these awful guns, either high-end $5,000, $6,000 custom single stack 50 cals down to awful like Taurus 380s and everything in between, like very minimal, sensible recommendations for concealed carry weaponry. And I had one guy that just recently put up there, he carries a revolver with a couple speed loaders. I'm like, what is wrong with you? It doesn't matter. It's a gun I shoot well. I shoot it best and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, why you shoot a Glock that bad? You shoot a high-capacity striker-fired pistol so bad that you're cutting your capacity by like 75%? How good do you have to shoot? I don't get that. I just made a holster. You can see here on the screen. I made a holster for a guy that is a 5-shot 357 lightweight revolver. And it's a fine gun, but I can't believe this guy would roll around and that's all he has in his pocket. I mean, I don't get it. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, moving on are the people that carry just a Glock 43 or, as you can see here, a really muddy LCP. I don't get that. I really don't. I've stepped it up a little bit. Sorry, the picture's sideways here. As a while there, I was carrying the Shield. I stepped up to a spare magazine. I went back to the Glock 26. I always end up going back to it eventually. But
it's like the black hole that draws you in.
Yeah. But the ability to be able to carry a 9mm weapon that holds a reasonable amount of rounds, to me, it's at least 7 to 8 rounds. I just don't think the Shield is the bare minimum for me. I don't care who you are. It's just you've got to carry at least that much gun. There's no reason not to. To have 11 rounds on board and be able to feed it with full-size magazines, and also very important to me to be able to stage magazines wherever I'm at. I can put a spare magazine in this drawer, in both vehicles, in the saddlebag of the motorcycle, and I've got plenty of them already. Why would I want to mess with... I'd have to spend hundreds of dollars to get as much Shield magazines as I have for this, and it just works. It's a small compact gun that can be pushed into full-size duty if you really want to push it, and it's not going to sweat it. And I think it's a little different for me because, like Casey said, I'm the kind of person, too, that if something happens, I'm probably not going to be on the sidelines. If I'm going to be hooking up with somebody and going with them. And if you don't have something on your body, if it's not on your body, it doesn't count. So, just real quick, like I said, the Glock 26, a knife. I have put OC spray in there. I got a flashlight, which that's being replaced very soon with something more significant. And a spare magazine, a 17-round magazine. Fits great in my offside pocket. And I feel really comfortable with that loadout. And I can get into a decent amount of stuff and not feel like I'm really in trouble. Versus, for instance, we had what we thought was an active shooter at our agency about 6 months ago. We were cleaning weapons after a gun class, and all of a sudden they were shooting in the parking lot. Little did we know it was actually a honor guard practice. But here I was running out the door. People were loading up the guns they had. My guns were all disassembled, soaked in hops number 9, and all I had on me, I think, was the Shield. No spare magazine, nothing. The Shield and 7 shots, and here I'm about to run across the parking lot and get into what? I was like, ooh, this is kind of ugly. I mean, I couldn't even reach into my truck and grab a spare magazine because I only have, at that time, 1 spare magazine. That's not real cool. So I made this decision because I think it works for me. I've heard a lot of people, in addition to the ridiculous revolver nonsense, they're changing truck guns, whatever, vehicle, go bags, and all that stuff. And I'm not knocking them. But remember, think about what you're really talking about. If you're going to the mall with the family, we're talking about the same situation. Is it a better investment to carry a bigger gun, like a subcompact or what we're talking about, setting the bare minimum at, say, the Shield? I don't really want to say the 43, but we'll put it there. It's pretty close. But that size weapon and up with a spare magazine, is that not a better investment and upgrade versus an AR-15 in your trunk? I have to say it is. I'm not saying don't put an AR-15 in your trunk or an AK. I don't care. Have it. It's great. But what's more likely that you're going to need and more likely to be used, and I'm telling you, you can't deny it's going to be what's on your body and what's on your body right now, not what's in your car. And I'm not saying take it out, but there's a lot of people carrying little 5-shot revolvers, and they're getting this warm and fuzzy because they convinced the wife to buy a big old fancy AR-15. They put it in the trunk, and now they feel comfortable. And I think they made improvements in the least likely area that they're going to need something.
I generally agree. I think some of that stuff's some Walter Mitty shit. Listen, you want to have a truck gun or a trunk gun or whatever you want to do, that's fine. Knock yourself out. I'm not against that. I just can't afford it. I don't have thousands of dollars to leave rolling around in the truck. And, I've actually considered getting a little Smith & Wesson M&P 15 Sport, throwing a little Spark optics, Vortex Spark, aim point type of optic on it. So for about $700, I'm into a pretty decent setup that has been tested by people that I know and trust. But then I'm like, why? Because here's the thing. If I'm not at the truck, it does me no good. So that's kind of one extreme. The other extreme is the guy who carries the smallest, 40 caliber Derringer he can find, puts it in his pocket, and says, "Hey man, I'm good to go." No, you're not. We got to find a happy medium. And it was asked on either the Facebook or email, I don't remember where, about carrying the shield or a holster for the shield or something. And I was like, look, I'm a big fan of the shield. I carry the shield when I want to. It's not as often as probably I ought to, but every now and again I'll carry the shield. Or if I have a real need for a small, tiny gun. I am not that upper crust that I'm wearing a tux very often. My suits are cut to carry a gun. So I just 9 times out of 10, I'm carrying a Glock 22 or 17 and 2 mags. That's what I roll with, like day in and day out. I've flown on airplanes with it, covered with just a button-down shirt. I wear it every day at work in cargos and a polo. It works. It's good holsters keep the gun close. Good holsters keep the gun where it's supposed to be. The gun is plenty good. I've got a lot of ammo. I shoot the piss out of that gun, both of those guns. So that's what I carry. And I don't really care if I print. I don't give a damn because I'm the police, 1. But 2, even when I wasn't the police, I carried a big gun anyway because it's what I had. I was poor. So to me, it's the whole printing thing is like, oh my God, you don't want to print. And listen, I get it, Roger. There's like 3 places in the country that's going to be an issue for you. And if you live there, don't do that. For everybody else, it's not a big deal. No one even notices. So I'm a big fan, a proponent of the full-size gun. That's what I like. Now, I've been known to roll with the shield. I don't particularly care for the mid-size Glocks, and I really don't like the tiny Glocks. So that's kind of where I roll. I don't have a truck gun. I don't even carry a knife 99% of the time because I'm a shitbag. I don't know. I just don't have a need for a knife. I've got a knife in my desk drawer. I've got knives stashed all around in the cars and stuff. I just don't need one on my person. So I have not changed much of anything, but I've always kind of rolled that way. And I just think it's good that people are having the conversation and they're starting to realize that, hey, this stuff is here. It's coming, or it's not coming. It's here. And they're moving towards that stuff. So I think it's good. I think there's a good happy medium in there between the really tiny gun and the big gun if you don't want the big gun. And, if you want to have the truck gun, hey, feel free. I'm not against it. I'm not going to say if I go on a long trip or something, I don't roll with one, but that's just because in case I got to get back.
Yep.
So anyway, that's kind of my thoughts there.
Well, like I said before and how I started it, I guess is how we'll end it. It just makes sure it makes sense. Not an excuse to buy another gun or buy a cool nylon kit or this and that. Small practical things are going to be the best investment. Stuff you have on you right now. If you can buy a better belt and buy a better holster that allows you to carry the full-size gun or a bigger gun, or at least meeting that minimum that you can get consensus across the industry, 9mm single stack like the Shields 43, that being the minimum, and then if you can get there and work your way up. And I just tell you over and over again, carrying a spare magazine or carrying something like that is going to be more value added. Or practicing, that's the one thing we forgot, practicing shooting that gun to the best of your ability, staying sharp with it, take a class with it, compete with it. When I compete here locally, I go back between my duty rig and my concealed carry. I kind of alternate. So the last time I shot that wasn't my duty stuff, it was the Shield. I shot the Shield and had to top off magazines a couple times, but I shot it the same way I carry it. That is more valuable, more realistic, but not always cool guy, not always buying a new whiz-bang, this or that, but that's going to have more effect and be more valuable if you show up to the mall with mom, pa, and granny in tow to spend 15 minutes in the massage chair and get a Annie M pretzel, and the ISIS shows up. That's going to be more effective and more valuable than a brand new AR-15 in your trunk a quarter mile away. Or, let's be honest, if you're like me, most of my vehicles only seat 2 or 3. You're not even in your vehicle. You hopped in the minivan. Dad says, hey, you can drive, son. He hops in the back. You drive lead the caravan, and now your actual trunk gun that you spent so much money on and all your other stuff and your spare magazines and your lights and everything else is now 15 miles away from you. So what do you have? Literally what's in your pockets. So just try to think about making improvements on your body first and then pushing out to other things. But I think you want to touch on some politics. I don't know if you want to now, but
you're an idiot. I think it's been
mostly a hard transition, wasn't it?
Mostly been a political show.
No, it's really the same thing we've been saying for a while there. I hope we can reach you and help you out. That is really my goal in all of this, to give you solid advice, to give you that 90% solution. Not being so crazy and saying you have to buy exactly this gun. If you don't, you're an idiot. And not saying just as long as you carry anything, as long as even if it's Derringer, you're okay. No, I want to try to give you a 90% solution, that happy medium and balance that, like you said, if you just have money to buy one gun, which is what most people do. A lot of these people on Facebook and YouTube, they sit here and they pull up gun after gun after gun. This gun, well, this is good for this. This dude just showed you like $5,000 worth of handguns. That's not realistic for the everyday common person. The everyday common person is just like the friend of a friend who texts me third person saying, hey, can you help out my friend? He decided he wants to buy a handgun, but now he thinks he needs a 1911 because the Glock doesn't have a safety. I'm trying to help out that same kind of person, but to the masses, to put it out to everybody so that they don't make those $1,000, $500, or even $500 mistakes. I'm just trying to give good, sound advice on a broad spectrum of things for the everyday common person. That's all.
All right, folks. Thanks so much for joining us on this journey. You all are the absolute best. We love getting your emails. Feel free to email us at feedback@practicaltacticalpodcast.com. That's feedback@practicaltacticalpodcast.com. If you have not and you would like to, please do leave us a review, preferably a favorable review, but a review nonetheless on iTunes or whatever podcast aggregate that you found us through. We always love to get those. We have quite the high rating. Some people don't like it. Some people do. We very much appreciate every single one of you. Thanks so much. You can also check us out on the Facebook and the Twitter. We love to have conversations on Facebook. We are very responsive. We try to get back to you in just a few minutes, if at all possible. You can check us out at Facebook and Twitter. And really, that's all I have, folks. Justin, love you, brother. Can't wait to talk to you next year. And everybody else, please don't hesitate to let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. If there's something you want us to do or something you'd like to see, let us know. You can do that, as I said, via the email or the Facebook. Until next time, folks, be safe, train hard, keep your head on a swivel, and shoot straight. Take care. Bye-bye.